us, I know just about all of us, do have a home church. And one of the most important things that the church is leading to is the aspect of ministry involving our modern church. But one of the questions is asked, is media effective in today's ministry, or is it kind of an last-ditch effort to keep in touch with the young crowd? A lot of people really have mixed feelings about this. Some people say that we have to keep moving in order to keep being relevant, and then some people say we don't need it because honestly it's not mentioned in the Bible. It's only kind of adding to the feeling of the church. Up until recently, technology was only used as tasks as amplifying voices and lighting on platforms. But today's culture, however, we are starting to face a culture that seeks after a creative and a media-rich environment for everything, including worship. It's very rare to go into your congregation on Sunday morning, seeing people pull out hymn books and trying to find the worship that is for that day. Now, more often, if you take a look, you will come in to see the worship band on stage, checking with the sound team, making sure that the amplifiers are working, seeing that the correct lyrics are on the screen so that the team can sing along, and even so that all of the microphones are in check and not dead on batteries. When you think of media technology in church, probably one of the first things you think of is that, but it goes so much deeper into that. What is media? The dictionary translation means it is a mass communication regarding collectively. In other words, it's a way of communicating with multiple people instead of just doing one-on-one. This can be in multiple ways. It can be with music. Sharing music, I know a lot of times at youth groups, we do worship, but also we do have music going on in the background as you're coming in, you hear music. At our JV program, one of the main things we do is before session every night, we do open the doors, we play music, and when the kids outside, they hear that music, they say, what's going on? They come and say, check it out, and that's when they're first able to see what we're doing. I am one of the directors of Peers in Noble County, which basically is we are promoting teen abstinence, drug awareness, and one of the main topics we do go over is media influence and how to use that positively towards your ministry. Another way is parody videos. Our church is actually starting to use a lot more of this. It's where you take a song, kind of redo it, and we even make videos, and we use that a lot of time as ways of promoting stuff like youth groups, Sunday nights, even a retreat we might be having, podcasts and radio. A lot of churches are now able to promote on the radio. Sometimes you'll turn in on a Christian radio station and you'll hear a sermon from a church that was in the local area, or even podcasts. If you go on my iPod, you will see a man named Francis Chan, who's one of my favorite speakers. He has a podcast, and he is a popular pastor out in California, so that allows people around the country to hear a message, even if they weren't able to make it up at church that morning. According to studentministry.org, they broke it down into 5 points of media ministry of why it is important to the church. 1, discipleship needs to be more than a weekly service. We cannot expect a 1-hour service each week to fulfill people's spiritual lives for the other 167 hours. I know as a child, we would sit in church, we try to struggle through about an hour, and then we go home, we have lunch, we have fun, and then next week we'd be back to the same thing. So even as adults, we need more. Because it comes down to discipleship of what it's really about. Discipleship means to be there for people's lives beyond a weekly service and special events. That's one of the most popular things that we need to remember as the church body and as part of our own ministry. Social media can be a useful tool in providing this platform. It encourages us to keep in contact with the church congregants and any questions. I know the pastors at our church, all of them have a Facebook, and even 2 of them have a Twitter. So if anyone has a question or needs to get in contact with prayer, they are able to get in contact with them, and that is an easy way. It allows us to reinforce what God's saying. Andy Stanley states in his writing of 7 practices of effective ministry, it's important not to overload people with too many messages at once. Instead, encouraging churches to state one point well and focus on the application of that week. We'll face the problem of forgetting what is preached. We are surrounded by so much media that it's easy to get a sensory overload. And when we are there for the people, we can help answer any questions that they have. Because a lot of times people forget what is being talked about. Even pastors, a lot of times, they forget sometimes in their past speeches. I know I've given multiple messages, and I can't even remember what I said some of the times. It can inspire you to consider new possibilities for your ministry. Like I said earlier, the simulcasting and podcasts. Podcasts are even more popular, but a lot of churches now are doing something called simulcasting, where you're able to like shoot a camera up, like as I'm being recorded right now. They record the pastor or the preacher talking, and then that is recorded and shown at a different location, which allows people that are not able to make it at that home church to go to a branch campus. So the message is getting reached out. It allows you to reach outside your church in that way, and so it becomes a huge promoter. Also using Facebook and Twitter is also a big thing where you can reach outside. And it also gives you guys a bigger platform where you guys can encourage each other in their daily lives. I do believe it is important for the church to remain up and coming in this media, because as a world we are progressing, and the church we do need to stay with that. In our other class, one of my favorite quotes that Bob Smith says, we can either curse the darkness or we can turn on the light. We have to keep up with that. But probably one of the most important things we have to remember is we can't get too caught up in technology, because that's not what the church is about. The church is the bride of Christ. It is not about the building. It is not about where we are, how we